A remedy for congestion with spices you probably already have. Here, check this out. The remedy is good for sinus congestion, it's good for lung congestion, it's good for congestion from coughs and colds. It will help with like asthma, and I wouldn't recommend it for pneumonia because after you already have liquid in your lungs, the last thing you want to do is add more to it. But I'm going to give you a list of spices, and then I'm going to give you some herbs that you may not have. The spices you probably do. And then at the end, after I've given you this list, I'm going to give you some specific instructions on how you use them in this manner in regards to the remedy, because I'm going to tell you to do something that I ordinarily tell you not to do with your herbs. And in this particular case, we're going to do it a bit backwards. So just stay tuned. I'm going to give you the list of herbs, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go with the instructions. Here we go. Okay, so let's start with herbs you probably already have in your spice cabinet. We'll start with the Italian herbs because they're usually some of the favorites. There's oregano. If you don't have oregano, there's rosemary. Both of those are of the mint family. They both have some specific compounds that are going to be beneficial for getting this type of stuff out of your lungs and help relieving that congestion, even in your sinuses. Then if you don't have either oregano or rosemary, you could also have Italian seasoning. So it's kind of a blend of all of those anyway. So if you have Italian seasoning, it might not be a bad idea to try that one first. Then you have cinnamon. You can use cinnamon. Black pepper, you can either use these. This would be best if you grind it up and then put it in. But if you don't, you can just use regular old black pepper. And then, of course, there's ginger. So if you have ginger powder is great. If you have raw ginger, ginger's fine. If you have dehydrated ginger, that's, in any way, all of those will be beneficial. Now we're going to get on to some herbs that you can use, and then I'm going to tell you how to use them. Hold on. Okay, so here's a few herbs that you might not have, but some of you herby people might have. Any of the mints. So you have peppermint. There's catnip. Is not a bad one to put in there. There's spearmint. Any of the mints that you might have is going to be fine. And then, of course, my two favorite when it comes to lung health, you have horehound herb. I happen to have some available in my Etsy store, by the way. Not much, though. And then mullein leaf. Of course, mullein is one of the best lung herbs in the world. I'm always talking about how good mullein is for you. So any of those are good. Now, let me show you how we're going to use them and how we're going to use them differently than I normally teach you how to make your herbs. Hold on. So here's where the instructions are going to differ from what I normally tell you to do. Ordinarily, I tell you to make a tea, you got to keep your hot water not very hot. You got to stay below 177 degrees because you're going to lose essential and volatile oils as you boil your herbs. So you never want to boil your herbs, typically speaking. In this particular instance, we're going to boil our water, but we're not going to boil the herbs. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick your blend, whatever you choose that you want to use, whether it's herbs, whether it's spices, whatever you pick. You put them in a pan, and you leave the pan out. Well, you take two pans. You're going to take one pan, you're going to leave it out, and you're going to put your herbs in it. Or you can just put them in a bowl that's going to be hot, safe to heat. And then you take your water, and you boil your water. Now, once you get your water boiled and you have your herbs already picked out in here, you take your water and you pour it in your bowl. You can pour it in a bowl, you can pour it in a pan, whatever works for you. After you pour it in there, you've only got to let it set for just a second or two. You're going to take a towel and you put it over your head, and you're going to use the towel like a tent. So you're going to put it over your head and you're going to try to breathe in the fumes and try to keep as much of the fumes going into your lungs as humanly possible. Now, what that's going to do is, as those volatile and essential oils are being escaped from the plants, you're going to be inhaling them with the steam. Now, after it's all done, I'm not going to recommend anything, but after it's all done, instead of wasting the herbs, there's an opportunity for you to drink the tea. That's why I say pick your blend carefully, but you can drink the tea afterwards, after you've inhaled, because you've already gotten rid of some of the properties, but some of the properties are still going to be in the tea, and these are going to help to allow you for better breathing. Now, again, this should work for any of those. Check with your doctor if you have any concerns. I'm not telling you that you need to do this, but it is a good alternative. It's fairly quick and easy to do. And if you have any comments or questions about this particular remedy, let me know in the comments.